You guys have an awesome day so far? It's cool in here, hot out there. You know, there's a hotter place. Phoenix. Anyway, I know Loretta's made the announcements, but just a reminder, August 14th. Everybody say August 14th. We're going to be doing baptism here at New Life Center. I'm just so excited. There's a sign-up sheet out there. You really need to sign up, and there'll be people that'll come up August 14th to say, I didn't sign up. And I'll say, I know. That's the end of the conversation. But anyway, August 14th, baptism. And now what we do for baptism at New Life Center that might be different than something else that you've seen before is we want the person that is the most spiritually influential in your life. That's the person that should be baptizing you. Could be a parent, a friend, a family member, could be a pastor. But we feel like that's a bond that we just need to honor. And we're going to be doing that in the third service. Now, if there's too many people, we might have to do some in the second service as well. But I'm just excited because baptism is a symbol that people, their lives are changing at New Life Center. That is just so cool. And I don't know if I'm the only one that's excited about it, but I am heck excited about it. That was a hint. Did you guys sleep okay? I'm kind of worried, you know. But anyway, now I have had people ask me, they go, I was baptized as a kid. Do I need to be baptized again? Easy question. Did it work? If it didn't work, maybe you need to be redipped, you know. You know, some people, instead of being baptized, they just got wet. So if you just got wet, you know, so anyways, that's August 14th. Be sure and sign up. So anyway, I'm move on with that. I'm excited about what I'm going to talk about today, and just cool to see what God is doing. New Life Center is a place where the people that don't think that they fit into church can fit into church. Have you guys noticed that? And so we try our best to come alongside people and help answer those hard questions. And basically, here's the way that it works is we're not here to solve your problems for you, because it really doesn't work anyway. But what we're here to do is we're here just to kind of hold the light, okay? Just to kind of help you find your way. Matter of fact, that's what God's going to do. God's not going to solve your problems for you, but he'll shine the light because you can kind of find your way through. Okay, so I'm going to get back to the light thing in just a little bit. But as we get into this today, here's what I want to talk about. And well, just to kind of start, has anybody ever had a Costco meal? No, I don't mean the food that you buy and take home. Like, hey, we need 67 pounds of beef. No, that's not what I mean. And I'm not even talking about the big old giant hot dogs at the front. Those suckers are good, aren't they? Oh, great hot dogs. I'm talking about the little lady at the end of the aisle. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know. Costco meal. You know, man, as a matter of fact, if there's enough of those ladies, you make a couple of passes. Anybody do a twofer? Anybody else besides me? Yeah. I've even tried this. I know it's not okay. God's forgive me already. But, you know, you go and get that. And so, because I came through this way, so the next time I come through this way. And if you do it just right, you know, you get the sample, you go, hey, honey, you want one of these? Get another one. So, I mean, you can get kind of an okay meal, you know. So, but anyway, from what I understand, that's just supposed to be just a taste. It's just a sample. It's just something that just where you find out, am I going to like this or am I not going to like this? It's just a taste. And so on your way in today, we gave you something that's just a taste, right? Everybody get one? Anybody not get one? Don't sign up for softball. So anyway, so now here's the deal. Did that fill you up? Well, no, it can't fill you up because it's just a taste. Just a taste is not supposed to be fulfilling. It's just a taste. And I'm using that as just kind of an illustration this morning that sometimes we approach faith, sometimes we approach relationships with kind of that Costco mentality. We just want just a little taste of a relationship, just a little taste of faith. And then we discovered that it's not very fulfilling. Well, of course, because it's not supposed to be. It's just a taste. Of course, you didn't get full. Now, so taste is never supposed to be fulfilling. And oftentimes, I think that's what keeps us from becoming authentically you. because of the way that we approach things, we kind of stand off at a distance and we don't respond. We don't get close. Maybe because we're afraid of getting burned. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Okay, so now because maybe something we tasted relationship and it didn't work out. It left us bitter, so we stand off. Or maybe we tasted faith, or we have a church experience like, I don't think I fit in. So we kind of make these little tastes here and there, and then we're shocked because it's not very fulfilling. Are you with me yet? Okay, now, back on the food thing. I don't know about you guys, but I am not an adventurous food person. Anybody adventurous food person? Like you'll try anything? I don't understand you guys. I really don't. I don't get it. I'm not adventurous. So, for instance, there are some foods you could hide the secrets of the universe. They're safe with me. Not going to happen. Okay? For instance, I don't like okra. Oh, shut up. I just don't like okra. Matter of fact, don't give me your recipe. I'm fine. I don't like it. I don't do oatmeal. Yes, I have tried it with that. Raisins, brown sugar, honey, blueberries, strawberries, chocolate. It's oatmeal. I don't do oatmeal. It's not going to happen. Pickled beets? Satanic. Where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Just see, from my world, I think the devil's going to serve pickled beets every day. Okay, so but anyway, so I'm not adventurous now, and it's not that I don't try some stuff. I mean, I try some stuff. Like, you know, Loretta and I one time we went with Jessica and Lou because they wanted us to try sushi. You guys get excited over the dumbest stuff. It's just amazing. It's like, whoo, yeah, dead fish, yeah. And you know what? You know what I found out? I'm not a sushi kind of guy. I just couldn't get past it. So, matter of fact, I've tried menudo. I just can't get past what I know. I kind of prefer pozole because that's better body parts, I think, you know. But anyway, so you guys get it. So, you know, I'll try a few things. But basically, when I grew up, it's fried potatoes and pinto beans. Just, yeah, I got a little bit of love there, not a whole lot. You know this, you guys will understand this, and this is like super not okay, but you know me. They're not a Saturday night kind of meal. And if I have to explain, then you didn't grow up on pinto beans and fried potatoes. And so, now, you know, here's what I'm saying. So my history, my experience, my preferred taste is filtered through that pinto beans and fried potatoes kind of preference. Because that's what I'm familiar with. Everybody say familiar. So when I taste foods, it's with that preference and that idea. And so what happens is if I like it, I eat it. If I don't like it, I avoid it. Right? Make sense? Now here's the deal. People have a natural inclination to filter relationships and to filter faith through the same kind of Costco thinking. Where because we've been burned or something didn't work out or I didn't like this or something like that. So we kind of have that flavor. And then the result is what we come up with. We come up with shallow relationships and we come up with really kind of weak faith. It just doesn't work out very good, right? And so basically what we're doing is we're looking for something that connects with what we're familiar with. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that leads me to a really, really obvious question. If that's what you're familiar with and that's what you're looking for, the easy question is, does it work? Because if it doesn't work, why are you doing that? I mean, that's easy, right? I heard this week, and to me, it struck me as comical. I don't think it was supposed to be comical, but I'm just that way. But it's a notable atheist made this statement. He goes, if somebody can provide me credible evidence that God agrees with me, I'll believe in him. Sound like the stupid, dude, you're an atheist. So if you can prove to me that God doesn't believe that God exists, I'll believe in God. That's dumb. Now, see, here's the problem, is oftentimes because of our history, because of our experience, because we're used to pinto beans and fried potatoes, we flavor other relationships, we flavor faith through that lens. And that's why we've got to ask ourselves, I mean, does this really work? And so now a couple of things that will really mess somebody up for this approach is, if you have those preferences, won't those preferences lead you to the same place that you were before? I mean, maybe I'm not a deep thinker kind of guy, but like I know that if I follow the same road, I'll probably go to the same place. I know that went over your head a little bit, right? And the deal is also that, so if we only get a taste of a relationship, won't the relationship always be shallow? And if we only get a taste of faith, doesn't it make sense that the faith probably won't make much of a difference? So here's what I'm saying for you and I. Oftentimes, because of our history, we only want to sample stuff and taste it because we're kind of afraid, we're nervous, it didn't work out. Now here's the problem. If you only taste a relationship, the relationship is probably going to crash when the heat's on. If you only taste the faith is not going to be strong enough to get you through the difficult times that are sure to come. We need, in order for relationships to work, in order for faith to work, we need to dive in. That's scary. That's really scary. So we're going to take just a look at that today. Now, when we have these certain preferences and certain practices, we really desperately want them to work. And so I think sometimes we hang on longer than we should, or we put up with stuff that we probably shouldn't, because we really want it to work because that's what we're used to, but it doesn't work because shallow relationships always produce, or shallow love always produces short relationships. Okay? And just getting a taste of faith will always give us faith that doesn't make much of a difference, right? So, with this in mind, this is the thinking that causes people to make bad relationship choices. You know anybody? This is just a scenario. Let me just play this out. You probably know somebody. I left dramatic pause there just for you, right? You probably know somebody that is involved in a relationship, and you're thinking, you got with the same person. The driver's license have a different name and it's a different face, but it's the same person. You guys know what I'm talking about? Because that's the preferences. So you're thinking, and then they come to you and go, I don't know why it didn't work out. Really? Because it produces the same results. Okay, now from that, from our history, this is where I want to get to this whole thing. From that history, we get burned, we get hurt, things happen. Then we start to get really cautious. Anybody know what I'm talking about? We get untrusting and we kind of stand at a distance. And then so every relationship after that, every experience of faith after that, we're kind of cautious. Am I talking to the right people? Like, I don't know. So it just gets progressively worse. That's why we need something real. All right, now, I said all that to get to this. There's an obscure story. You'll find this in 2 Samuel chapter 4. And this is a story about a kid by the name of Mephibosheth. Tough name, huh? Mephibosheth. You got to practice a lot to be able to pull that off. Everybody say Mephibosheth. Yeah, you guys suck at it. So Mephibosheth, okay? And so Mephibosheth, I mean, his dad is king. I mean, his grandpa is king. His dad is next in line for the throne, so he's obviously next in line after that. And so Mephibosheth, I mean, he's got his future laid out, and in one day, his life basically turns upside down, everything falls apart. Anybody ever had plans fail? You have some stuff going good, and something happens like, really? Anybody ever have to cancel a vacation? Am I talking to the right crowd here? It's like, okay, So his whole life has kind of come crashing down. And here's what it says. This is the story of Mephibosheth and how this goes for him, okay? 2 Samuel chapter 4, verse 4. It says, Saul's son Jonathan had a son named Mephibosheth, who was crippled as a child. He was 5 years old when the report came from Jezreel that Saul and Jonathan, his grandfather and his dad, had been killed in battle. When the child's nurse or his nanny heard the news, she picked him up and fled. But as she hurried away, she dropped him. Anybody ever tell you that your mama dropped you? This is the real story, okay? Yeah. Some things in the Bible, they're just comical. Yeah. So what happened? Mama dropped me, So she dropped him, and it said that he became crippled. So here's what I'm saying for you and I. We have these experiences in life where things just kind of belly up and it doesn't go well. And these experiences change us. I'm going to get real for just a minute. Whenever you're deeply in love or deeply in faith and something goes horribly wrong, or you've had a mistake that you're trying to pay for, this kind of stuff, it changes us. So this experience changed him from who he was supposed to be into somebody that he was never supposed to be. Or to put it this way, it changed him from being authentically you to somebody that had to hide the real him. So what Mephibosheth ended up doing after he was crippled is the scripture says that he moved to a little town called Lodabar. I'm having trouble with this mic. It's making me crazy. Please stand by. You ever have something that just touches your face once in a while? Is that better? It was making me crazy. I couldn't take it. So, back to the story. So his grandfather dies. His father dies. So his nurse, his nanny picks him up and she's running and she drops him. Now, the reason that she picked him up and she's running because in that culture, they're coming for him next. So in order to survive, she tries to run away. So basically, everybody's trying to do the right thing, and it goes terribly, terribly wrong. So what happens, because he's crippled now, because his future is destroyed, because he doesn't have any hope, he moves to a little town called Lodabar. Now, what Lodabar literally means is an empty place. So he goes to hide in an empty place. Because his future didn't work out. Things are not good. So basically, what happens to people is because things go horribly wrong, relationships falls apart, or maybe you tried to save your family and it didn't work out, or maybe you blew the marriage and now you're single, this kind of stuff. So what happens is those are the people that move to places like Lodabar. And basically what it gets down to is like, look, I don't bother you, you don't bother me, we're fine. Nobody goes to Lodabar. Nobody messes with it. It's just this is the life I'm going to live. Here's how it is. That's it. It's over. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the people that show up at New Life, some of us know what it is to have the nurse drop you. So somebody bumped your head. No, I'm just playing. But you get it. So what happens is we have these things that happen in life that change us. And not for the good. Am I talking to the right crowd? And then every relationship after that, you're super cautious, right? Every experience of faith after you've been burned in church. People get hurt in church all the time. Now we're cautious, kind of standoffish. That's living in Lodabar. It's like, look, this is the way I'm going to live. This is the way I'm going to be. I'm fine, okay? Don't ask me no questions. Don't mess with me. Stay out of my stuff. Don't be trolling my Facebook. I know stuff, huh? Living in Lodabar. But see, what Mephibosheth didn't know, maybe what you don't know, is there is a king who's looking for you. There's a king who's made a covenant. There's somebody that has made a promise way before you ever showed up, way before you ever got hurt, way before you ever made those mistakes. The king has made a promise for somebody just like you. He's wanting to show his favor to sons and daughters, children of promise, not children of problems. So here's what I'm saying for you and I. David made a covenant with Jonathan. This is Mephibosheth's dad. I'm going to take care of your children. God has made you and I a promise, and God has made a promise. I don't care if you've been wounded in the battle. I don't care if you're living in a place like Lodabar. I don't care if it's like you don't bother me, I won't bother you kind of thing. I have been looking for somebody just like you. So David has this conversation. And he asked his servants, is there any sons and daughters of my friend Jonathan left? Is there anybody else that I could bless? I'm telling you, here's what I'm asking you and I today. Are there any sons and daughters of God in the building that are still looking for the blessing? Anybody waiting for God to fulfill his word? Anybody waiting on God to move in your life? Anybody waiting for your kids to come back? Anybody waiting for your family to get straightened out? Anybody waiting for your marriage to get back on track? The King is calling for you. You are the one that God is looking for. He's made these promises to you. So what David said to his servants, go get him. Go get him and bring him home. See, my friend, here's what I'm saying. God's been looking for you. Doesn't matter the mistakes you've made. Doesn't matter what has happened to you. Doesn't matter where you've been living. Doesn't matter how you've been living. God has made a promise to his sons and daughters to bring them home. He's been looking for you. Not because you got it all together, but because he made a promise to you a long time ago and he hasn't forgotten. The King is looking for you. So let me finish this up this morning by just simply saying, you got to know the character of the promise. There's this story, and it's kind of interesting. Second Samuel chapter 9. The scene opens up because basically the presence of God has been missing for a long time. Anybody been there? The presence of God hadn't been around much. Dry place. So David decides it's time to bring God back into the picture. How many of you guys see that? It's time to bring God back into the picture. And so they go to get the Ark of the Covenant. And it doesn't go good at all. Anybody ever have a good plan that goes terribly wrong? Am I talking to the right people? Anybody ever try to help somebody and end up getting hurt in the process? Am I talking to the right people? Anybody had your best intentions ever kind of thrown back in your face and used against you? Am I talking to the right people here? So David did his best, and it just went bad. And normally what people do in situations like that, it's like, look, okay, forget it. I tried. It didn't work. I'm done. Everybody say done. But God has a plan. So David says, you know what? Let's try this again. Good idea? But this time, let's find out how God wants to do this. Wow. What a cool idea. I never thought of that. So the next time they try, let's try this God's way. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you, but when they try God's way, it starts working. You ever have something going where you're afraid to say anything out loud, but inside you're going, oh my God. Am I talking to the right people? It starts to work like, what? Oh my God, this is working. Really? Now see, this is why I like David. It got so good, and God was doing so much, and David got so excited he couldn't contain himself. Anybody ever been there? And here's what the Bible tells us. It says that David started dancing before the Lord with all of his might. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of read stuff into that. Here's what I see. David got so excited, so beside himself, he got embarrassingly excited. Anybody ever embarrass your friends? You're my kind of people, right? He said that he danced with all of his might. Matter of fact, he got so into it, his robe fell off. No demonstrations, please. We're fine. Because God's presence is coming back to the house. I think God has this great plan for your life. And every time I do this, Jessica complains, but I'm going to do it anyway. When I see what God is doing in your lives, when I see what God is doing in my life, when I see what God is doing in our city, I'm telling you, I can't contain myself. I get excited. I love it. So, my thing, woo! Why? Because God is coming back into the house. God's presence is coming back, and God is doing incredible things. Your life is changing. I don't know how you can help from being excited. But get this, the story goes on. Saul's daughter Michal is looking from the window, and she's disgusted. She's like, oh my God. How embarrassing. So she starts mocking David, making fun of him. Anybody been made fun of? Now, if you're not careful, that'll change how you respond. But I love David's answer. This is perfect. David said, oh yeah? I will be even more undignified than this. Can I give you Dave's version? Girl, you ain't seen nothing yet. You're embarrassed with the last one? Watch this one. Yeah. So here's where I want to finish. I wonder what would happen if instead of being worried about who's looking out the window, if we would look at what God is doing right in front of us. I wonder if that would make a difference in your life. I wonder if maybe you don't see what God is doing and you're so worried about how it's going to look or how it plays out or I don't know if this is going to work. See, I wonder if sometimes we're so worried about things that we're taking Costco bites out of an overwhelming, abundant blessing in our life and wondering why it's not working. Here's what I'm saying. God is showing up at your house, and I think it's time for Mephibosheth to dance. I think it's time for you to get up on your feet, say, you know what, God, I'm not giving up. I'm not laying out. I'm not taking what little bit is left over. I am going to go this thing all the way. All the way. My friend, today is a good day to just dive in. Let me give you some good advice. You ready? Don't tie your faith to results. That make sense? I've had people tell me, Pastor Dave, I tried it, it's not working. No, you're tying your faith to results. Don't let lying results destroy your dream. We walk by faith and not by sight. I heard that someplace. Okay? So, check this out. You know why darkness can't stop you? See, here's how it works sometimes. Because we're afraid, we don't know the answers. God, I don't know if this is going to work out. Gee, this is really tough. I don't know where to step. You know why darkness can't stop you? Because in Matthew chapter 4, here's what Jesus said. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. So here's how this works. Man, I'm a simple guy. Just do this. Could we get all the lights turned off for just a minute, please? Just all the lights. Dang. See, if Jesus says you're the light, You know why I don't have to worry about the next step? If I'm the light, wherever I step, the next step, there's the light. And the next step, there's the light. See, you don't got to worry about the reason that the devil can't stop you. The only thing he has to use against you is fear. But God is showing you favor. So you know what? You are the light. Therefore, darkness can't stop you. So here's what I'm saying for you and I. Don't you think it's time that we stand up and start walking in the promises that God has for us? Don't you think it's time? Turn the lights back on, please. So here's where we're at today. A couple of simple questions. If I can get you to bow your heads and close your eyes for just a moment, please. Number one, I'm so glad that you're in God's house today. I'm so glad. See, some of you, you've allowed what has happened to you to disqualify you. So when I'm saying that you're the light and you're the promise and God has this plan, sometimes you guys, you are the ones disqualifying. So, well, I would, but this has happened to me. I would, but this happened. I would, but I did that. It doesn't matter if you've been crippled. It doesn't matter if you've been broken. It doesn't matter where you live, and it doesn't matter what's happened to you. Your history makes no difference when you have a destiny. There's people in this room that you're fighting for all you're worth to keep your family together. If that's you, show me your hand. Say, Pastor Dave, that's me. I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling. There's people in this room, you have no idea how to move forward because you feel like you can't get past the mistakes that you made. Say, you know what? Man, I've really blown it. This is bad. I don't know how to move forward. If that's you, just raise your hand. Say, Pastor Dave, that's me, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Last thing. Something that has happened to you or around you has left you broken and you've been hiding. You're afraid to let anybody see the real you. You need God to be able to go back and heal that person so you can become the person that God always intended you to be. If that's describing you today, with nobody looking around, please, that's describing you. Say, that's me, Pastor Dave, that's me. You know, I have to be really sensitive to the Spirit. Listen. There's some people in this room today. You've been trying to outrun abuse for years and years and years. It's still hanging onto your head. You're still so guarded because of some abuse someplace. I just know that for sure. And seriously, absolutely nobody looking around at this point. Absolutely nobody. But I want to be able to pray for you today. That's so important. Well, whoever that is, could you just slip your hand up real fast right back down? That's all I'm asking. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Could y'all stand, please? Some of you guys know what it's like to be crippled, where something that's happened to you has messed you up for years. It affects relationships. It affects your personality. But it doesn't affect God's plan. See, when Mephibosheth was crippled, what David was trying to tell him, it doesn't change who you are. So don't let it change who you are. And I think there's people in this room that you've experienced abuse, and there's still a wounded place inside of you that you've guarded so well, and I totally understand it. I understand completely. And there's nothing that I would do to violate that trust at all. You have my word. So what I'm asking today is if you would be willing to let God in to heal that place, if you'd be willing. So what I want to do this morning, and this is unusual, but I'm gonna hang around with our prayer partners here in the front. And I just feel like there's some people here that you've dealt with something all of your life. You don't know what to do with it. I think it's time for Mephibosheth to dance. I think it's time you get some joy in your life. The stuff that you're dealing with in all of your life, it's sucking you dry. That's no way to live. Matter of fact, could I share this? I know I'm talking forever. Some of you guys, the voice inside your head right now is saying, you know what? I can't even remember the last time I was happy. God's talking to you. Okay? So we're going to pray. I'm going to be right up here with our prayer partners, okay? You guys ready? Let's pray.